Yeah, so far we already discussed about this string as a data type. But here, string is a predefined class in Java. String is a predefined class in Java. It's a class. So what is that? Anything, any data that is enclosed in double quotes is called string, is called a string data. String as of now, string or string object is also called as string literal, is also called as string constant. Of course, literal means constant only. So these are the various ways we can call a string. Any data that is enclosed in double quotes is called string or string object or string literal or string constant. And it is a predefined class. Yeah. Then when it is a predefined class, for any predefined class, the first thing we should know is it is present in which package. Okay. String class is present in a package name called as java.lang package, which is by default, this package is available to every Java program. By default, it is available. That's why we are not writing any import space java.lang, but we are writing for scanner class, we are writing import space java.util.scanner. So that's what a default package is java.lang package only. That's why it is not required to mention that package statement on top of the program. Yeah. So then, so since it is anything is allowed to store by using string, any data that is enclosed in double quotes, in previous classes also already we discussed. Can we store by using string with some numbers? Is it correct?
Yes, sir.
Correct. But is it recommended?
No, sir.
Not recommended. Okay. So like this, some we can store in string variable. In string variable, we can store a single character also, but in double quotes. Still, it is not recommended. Yeah. We can store something like 3.14 in string format also, but it is still not recommended. Yeah. So because this data can be stored by using a primitive, this is also possible. This is also possible with primitives. That's why preference always you have to go for a primitive only, because of reasons are more memory consumption with string and execution time, execution wise faster when it comes to primitives. String is slow. So these reasons, some data which is possible to store by using primitive, go for primitive. Something like a name I want to store, James Gosling. Then can we use any primitive for this? No, then there is only one
No, sir.
option for us. Then in such scenarios, we have to go for string. There is no other option. String S4 equals some name, some mail ID, some date of birth, some address. So these are recommended with string only, but something like primitive kind of values, sorry, the values which can store by using primitive, we prefer primitive only, not string. That's the first point. Yeah. So then, so here I said it's a class. For a class, can we create the object? Yes or no? Yeah. So here, if we go for the different ways of declaring a string object. So one thing is we already know, that is string in terms of data type, string, then a variable name of programmer choice, so say S1 equals a data called Java is one approach. When it comes to a class, for a class, can we create object? Yes, we can create the object. So the second approach is class name, string, object reference name, programmer choice, new keyword, then same class name called string once again, then in double quotes. So I can take something called as James Gosling. These are the two different ways that we can declare a string object. One thing is, the one approach is without using new keyword, without using new keyword. And the second approach is by using new keyword. These are the two possibilities. Yeah. Then what's the difference? If we declare like this, and when JVM execute first line and when JVM execute second line, will there be any difference or both are same? The difference is whenever we write this line of code and JVM execute this line of code, in RAM, there are different memory locations. And for JVM to execute, we write this inside a main method. Assume that inside a main method. With the first approach, that is without using a new keyword, the different memory segments are there. One is a stack and one is a heap memory and one more is string constant pool. These three only I'm taking for the discussion. Remaining two I'm not taking. When with the first approach, this string object will be created inside the string constant pool. So first this object will be created in string constant pool with a value called Java. Then since it is object, therefore JVM will generate some hexadecimal format of address 0x some number, say 100. Then this object will be assigned to one variable called S1. Because it is inside a method, it's a local variable. Local variables will be stored in stack segment of memory called S1. What it will have? The address of the object and it will be pointing to that SCP location. That's the first line. Then when it comes to next one, when JVM executes the second line, so this is what? New. New means object. Object will be created in heap memory. Therefore, the second line object will be created in the heap memory with a different hexadecimal address with a value called James Gosling. The next, this variable is again a local variable and which is present inside this with a stack and with address of 0x200, it will be pointed to that location. This is a process. Then once the data is loaded into the memory, we can access them by using the print approach with a variable name S1, S2 also. Yeah. The next difference is when we are using the string object to create without using a new keyword, they create in string constant pool. When you're using a new keyword, they store in heap segment of memory. That's the first difference. Next, after having this above two lines of code, if I write like this once again, string S2 equals same Java exactly like before. Same case sensitive also. Then next, S3 string S4 equals new string of again Java James Gosling in double quotes, then end of this semicolon. Now, after first four lines, when JVM comes to this next line, where this string object will be created. S3 with a value called Java will be stored in string constant pool or it will be created in heap segment of memory. String constant pool because
String constant.
because there is no new keyword is used. Correct or not? You have some doubt? Tell me. Hmm. Okay, then you are thinking it will not be stored. There are only two things. It will be stored or not stored. Stored. Where then? Heap or SCP? Heap. Then what about this S4? Where S4 will be stored? New keyword. New keyword means object. Object will be stored in heap memory only. Yeah. So before I answer this, let us go to one real-time application which is today's trend also. So voter ID. When each person in this country who are eligible for voting, assume that they are registering for their voter IDs. What data to be given? So we have to give our name and we have to give our father name, and then if requires mother name, father name and all. The next age we have to give. Next followed by date of birth we have to give. Yeah. And then followed by, sorry, yeah, the location or the address. So when it comes to this address also, we'll be giving our house number, and then next the locality, and then followed by the district, then followed by state, then followed by country, then followed by pin code. We need to give all this data to fill it. Am I correct? Now tell me, name is what type of data? String. Father name, string only. Mother name, string. Age, int. Date of birth, string only because of slash or hyphen. Then house number, because 2 dash 3 dash, string data. Locality, string. District, string. State, string. Country, string. Pin, int. Correct? So it is in any real life application, in any real time application. So all these 90 to 95% of data will be always of string type only. In any real life application you take, only 5 to 10% will be other types, int, byte, short, all primitive types and all. That is the importance of a string. Then in this voter ID application, and every citizen of our country will print what value for this country column? They all will write India only, no? Yes or no? Yes. Then assume that some 96 crore people are there in India who are eligible for voting. Then how many times this India has to be stored? Is it better to store one time, or is it better to store 96 crore times? So if you are storing same data
One,
in 96 crore times in our memory, will it be sufficient? No, right? So that is why such type of data where it is most commonly used for every member needs to be stored only once in the memory, so that it is memory will be optimized and we can reuse the object also. But when it comes to name, is it every time or different time? So
different,
everyone has to
different.
store their names, right? Accidentally they may be same names with surname, everything. If it matches, there may be possibility of same names. Otherwise everyone has a different name, and those all names has to be stored in the memory, and multiple times as well. And like this, to store some values only once, to store some values only once, we have to go for declaration of such type of data by using without new keyword. And if you want to create some objects, every time a new object has to be created, then we have to go for a new keyword approach to declare. That's why, even though when we are using the next syntax, which data is already stored in the string constant pool, before it loads into the string constant pool, JVM will go and check in the string constant pool that is a similar object is present already or not. Yes, it will check, and it is already there. Therefore, JVM will not create same object in string constant pool once again, will not create. But instead of that, to this variable called ES3, the same address will be used. That is 0x100. And this also will point to the same object location. So that is an example of the country column. Same like state also, we have to go for only one, because 28 states, if we store, it's enough. Everybody can reuse the same object. Yes or no? In AP, there are 9 crore voters are there. Correct? Then is it better to store 9 crore times the Andhra Pradesh, or only one time is better to reuse? One time only. That's why such type of thing also you have to go for one time creation, like district one time creation, but locality every time creation, because my area is different, your area is different, like that. So such type of things are used to store by using a new keyword approach. Whenever we use a new keyword, in the previous class also I told, by default, a new keyword will create a new object. Whether data is same or not, that's a secondary story. New keyword will create new object, that's all. So because it's a new object, then it's a new address. Then what's data? Even though it's the same previous like James Gosling, still it will be stored, it will be created. And this is stored by S4 and it has an address called 0x300 and it will point into this location. So here the point is, whenever we use the string object to create without new keyword, before it stores into the string constant pool, JVM will go and check the same object is present or not. If it is present, the address will be reused. If it is not present, it will be created. Understood? Yeah. Then the next, now if you
So which
print it,
is recommended, sir?
which is recommended depends on the use case.
Okay.
So the use case is like a country, then go for without new. If it is a name, go with new. Yeah.
Yeah, got it, sir. Got it.
So like this, then printing is off also. So we can print S3, but and also S4 will give a same output as well. So S3 will give output called Java, S4 will give output called as James Gosling. Understood? This is a primary difference to remember. Yeah. Next, the next point, some properties of string. One property is string is immutable. String objects are immutable. Immutable means possible to change or not possible to change. Yeah, not possible to modify or change. That's the first property. Next one, string objects are character arrays. Character array, but internally is the important point. Internally only. So if it is a character means, like we think about, we can access based on the arrays concept. But no, it is internally, not externally. So we'll discuss all these properties with some examples again. Okay. Then next, just now we discussed something about the declaration of string without new keyword and with new keyword. So I'll add those points for your notes purpose. That is, string objects will be stored in heap and string constant pool. Depends on programmer logic. If created by using new keyword, and here if created by using without new keyword. That's the difference. Yeah. And the next property, here multiple objects will be created or will not be created. Multiple objects will be created. And what about second scenario? Multiple objects for same data. For same data will not be created. Will not be created, but will be reused the existing object. That's the point. Yeah. Then here if I ask a question, so for that I'm going back. So here I'll write one more thing, like string S5 equals Java. This will be created or not? A new object of Java will be created or will not be created? No. Why? Because
Will not be created because it's already there.
it's already there in the
It's already there in SCP.
Java is a case sensitive or case insensitive?
Case sensitive.
Case sensitive, therefore
So it will
capital
not be
Java
there.
is same as small Java? No.
No, sir.
Therefore,
It will not
it
be.
will be created. This will be created. Okay. So remember this one. Some address and some variable which is having that address S5 with some 0x400. Something like that. Yeah. Since Java is a case sensitive, so capital Java with capital spelling is different from Java with a lower spelling. Okay. Now, what is this? Strings are immutable. Strings are immutable. What's the meaning of this one? So for that, we will understand the meaning of it. So assume I'm writing my program inside a main method. So first I'll take, so string some yes equals Java. First string. Yeah. And then once JVM execute this line, in which segment of memory it will be created? In string constant pool, and the object name is Java with some address called, say, some random address. And in stack, there is S1 or yes only or S1, which is having the same address called 0x100. This we know just now. Then followed by what I'll do to this S1 object. To this S1 object, I will perform the concatenation operator. Plus symbol is nothing but concatenation on strings. Then I'll add something called as Java is robust. I'm adding this. And I'm storing this result back to same variable called S1, which is already declared as a string type. Then followed by, I'll print system.out.println S1. What's output we are going to get? What's output we are going to
Java.
get?
Java.
Only Java? Java is
Robust.
robust is one answer. Some are saying only Java, which is correct.
Only Java, sir.
Only Java is correct.
Yes.
Yeah. So what is the property says? Immutable. Possible to modify or not possible? Not possible. Therefore,
Not
what's output?
possible.
Java is robust or Java is output? Only Java is the output is wrong answer. Java is robust is the right answer. Then I am contradicting with my property and my answer. Yes or no? I am saying immutable, but it is modified answer only we are getting. What is the story? So this is where the misunderstanding is there. Let us understand what's that. So when JVM execute first line, we know the story. It's done already. When JVM comes to the execution of second line, so in this, first right hand side or left hand side? Right hand side. So already S1 is a variable. So therefore, it's already having the data. The next is robust is what? It's a new string object. Correct or not? Yes or no? With new keyword or without new keyword?
Without new keyword.
Without new keyword. Then where it should be created? In string constant pool. Is it already there? No. Therefore, JVM will create one new object and stores the data called as is robust. And it's a different address. Any variable is pointing to this? No. Therefore, it is just object will be there. That's all. It is not, there is no S1 and S2 for this. Understood? After this execution, then JVM will concatenate these two, merge these two. That is the second part of right side only. Yeah. This is during execution time. JVM is executing this program. During execution time, the first object S1 the second object called is robust will be merged into a new object called as Java is robust. Because it's a runtime process, that will always happen in the heap memory only. Yeah. So because this is executed at execution time, runtime, therefore first creation, then take this object and take this object and merge them because of this plus symbol. That process will happen always. Any runtime process will happen in the heap memory in terms of object creation. That's why a new object will be created in the heap memory with a value called Java is robust. Since it's a new object, new address will be generated. And that address is given to which variable? S1 variable. Therefore, previously S1 is pointing to some address. Now that will be disconnected. And S1 will be updated with a new address called as 300 in place of 100. This is the latest value S1 is holding. Then what we are doing? We are printing. Then JVM goes to S1. S1 is a local variable. JVM goes to stack, and based on the address, JVM goes to memory location and get this value and prints the output as Java is robust only, not as Java. But where is originally Java is there? When it is first line, where this Java object is there? In the string constant pool. In this location, the change is happening or not happening? In this location, is it becoming Java is robust? That's the meaning of string
No,
is
sir.
in the existing memory location, the modification is not happening. The modification is happening in the new location. That's why Java objects are immutable. That's the meaning of it. String objects are immutable. This is the meaning of it. In a same memory location, the modifications will never happen on strings. That's why it is a immutability, immutable. This is the meaning. Understood? Clear? First property. Then to go little more clear about the second property, I am taking a next example. So in my same main method, some string s2 equals, I'll take grads. What's the second property? When it comes to strings, internally they are character arrays. That's why when JVM execute this line, it will be stored in string constant pool of memory. But in what way? In a character array. G, R, A, T, S are the separate characters which will be stored in a array format internally. When it comes to array, what will be the next thing? These characters will be stored based on the indexing positions also. The indexing starts from 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is internal. Then as a programmer, can we access them based on the index position? I want to print G. Is it possible? Is it possible? Tell me how to print. What's the variable name?
S2 square bracket
Yes.
0, sir.
Then the requirement is print G. Then if you want to print this G, what's the approach? System.out.println. So inside this, what's our name? S2.
S2
What's
square
index
bracket
position? To
0.
be used in square brackets. Correct or not? Yes or no? So what's the output of this line? G is the output. So this is the blunder. Because what did I mention? It is only internally, not for a programmer to access the elements like arrays. It is not possible. Yeah. So then what is the correct approach? So for that, so we have to understand some more internals. Like arrays, JVM will give one property called length property. So here also JVM will give one more property called as a length method. So it's for every string, there is a method called length method. So then based on using length and based on using some more predefined methods called caret method, it is possible to allow the access of the individual elements of a string. So that we will discuss later, but I'll come discuss the next concept called, at this point of time, we'll discuss about one important property, that is the difference. After this difference, again, I'll come back to the same story. The difference between double equals operator and equals method. Did you remember? Initially, whenever you're using scanner class, double equals is
Yes, sir.
throwing incorrect results, but equals method only is giving the correct results. What is happening there? Now here we are going to understand that. Okay, what's the difference? The first meaning is, whenever we use double equals operator on strings only, I'm talking about. Double equals operator is used to compare the address. Compare the address of objects. But equals method on strings is used to compare the content. Yeah. So if content is same, then equals method will return true or false. Double equals method will return, sorry, double equals operator will return true if the address is same. The return type for this equals method, the return type is Boolean. Return type is Boolean. Yeah. Then let us see with one program what is this difference is. Inside main method, assume that I am creating some objects like this. String s1 equals Java in lowercase, no spaces here and there. The next string s2 equals in, okay, a new string of Java, once again same spelling, lowercase, no extra keywords, spaces and all. Then followed by string s3 equals Java. The next string s4 equals new string of Java. Then followed by system.out.println s1 double equals s2. Then print of s1 double equals s3. Then s1 dot equals of s4. Okay. Then s1 or s2 dot equals of s3. Closing of printer. Yeah. So these are the 4 different lines of code I'm asking to print what's the result of it. Yeah. So without my explanation, can you please guess what are your answers? 4 print statements are there. I'm asking you to guess your answers. Okay, some we are saying false, true. Here also false, true, false or true, false or true. Only 2 possibilities. So tell me your options. First one is okay, false.
False.
Second, true. Okay.
False.
Okay, somebody saying false also. Third one is
True.
true. Okay.
Fourth also is true, sir.
Fourth also is true. But second one, some false and some true answers are.
False.
Okay, we'll see that. So for that, first let us go for the execution of this, where this Java will be created in string constructable, because it's not there. So I'll write Java, then some address 0x100, then the variable name in stack, the local variables with s1 and with address of 0x100. Correct? What about line number 2? That will be there in heap memory with a different address 200, the value is Java only, character and all, we know it. Then followed by the variable name called s2, and which is having a 0x200 is address pointed to that location. What about line number 3? Object will not be created. Yes or no? Yes, but address will be reused for s3 variable like 0x100 only. This will be pointing to this location. The next, what about s4? It is again a different object will be created because new keyword is there. A different address 300. Then here s4 will have a 0x300 is the value. Correct? That's a 4-line execution. Then followed by first one. What's the operator? Double equals. What's the purpose of it? Address. What's the address of ES1? 0x100. What's the address of ES2? 0x200. Are they same? Therefore, what's the answer? False is the answer. Then yes, S1 double equals S3. Double equals will compare address. What's the address of S1? 100. What's the address of S3? 100 only. Is it same? Therefore, true is the answer. False is incorrect. Then dot equals string object reference dot equals method. Then to compare one more string object inside the parenthesis. That's the approach. So then here S1 and S4, but double equals, sorry, equals method is used for comparison of content. What's the content of S1? Java. Content of S4? Java. Same case sensitivity. Therefore, true. Then S2 and S3 equals method will compare the content. S2's content is Java. Then S3's content also Java only. Therefore, this also will return true is the answer. That's the difference. Now, whenever we are writing the programs in our initial days where I am asked to use a scanner class, we are reading from keyboard, correct? For example, we are reading the data from keyboard to compare it. So first, for comparison, I'll write a program. So before we use a scanner class, what the string program is, for example, yes, there is some string s1 equals some string value. This value is a country name. If s1 double equals India, it's a value. And then print New Delhi or Delhi, correct? Then, so this is the code that we are writing. If I give the value here itself, then where this will be stored? SCP, correct or not? And this is also one more value. Where this will be stored? SCP only, and it's already there. Therefore, the address of this one and the address of this one, both are same or different? Same. That's why this is going to give a proper output called as Delhi only. Correct or not? So some else block, I'll say print invalid. Let us just assume. So instead of giving the input directly from the program, we give the input from the scanner class. Yeah. So whenever we use a scanner class, that object will be assigned to this S1 variable. Where that object will be created? In heap or in SCP?